And we are live. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of Respect the Craft. This is episode number 177 here. And I'm joined by the bringer of light himself. Though he's bringing some dark right now. Marvelous. What's
Yo,
going on, brother? How's
hey
everything,
man,
man?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me, man. I'm excited, man. Let's talk everything wrestling, man.
Definitely. No, again, I'm glad to have you on. Finally, we were able to make this work. It's been one I've been trying to do. I was trying to do before the VPW show, but it all works out. We're all here. It's all good. So we
All
get to
praise.
have this combo. But before I get into all of that, because I do have a lot I want to discuss with you, I have to ask you the question I ask everyone that comes on. You heard the name of the show. It's called Respect the Craft. So for you, when you hear that term, though, the craft, what does that mean to you?
And honestly, it means it's everything that I worked to, everything that I built. It's everything that I've been taught and I've taken now, and I'm not only applying it to myself, but now going into year 5, I see that I'm also helping others with the same tools that I've learned and helping them build their craft. So that's what it means to me, man.
That's awesome to hear, and definitely. So let's get into that though. To be 5 years in already, be again to do this passion of yours. What was it for you that made you decide not only are you a fan of this, but you want to step in there? Because I feel like there's definitely a difference. Of again, we all have that moment that it's like, this is it. I'm hooked. I need to keep watching this. But then having that moment of there's something more. I want to be a part of this. I feel like I got to be in this. What was that moment for you?
So those are two definitely separate moments for sure. But the first moment, I was like, I've wrestling just been in my life since I was a little kid. My parents watch wrestling, so wrestling's always been on. Of course, I grew up in that new generation era watching Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, those guys, and then flipping over to WCW and watching Hogan and Sting and Goldberg. So like that was I've been hooked. I've been hooked ever since, man. You can't tell me anything about it. Ever since I was a little kid, I was always sporting an Austin T-shirt or under. Look at me now, still
I was
doing
gonna
it.
say like
I'm sporting an Undertaker T-shirt, now, But the moment that I will say that I was like, you know what, let me do this. I was working at a job, I was doing a factory job. I was getting paid really good. Don't get me wrong. But it just for me, it just wasn't for what life was meant to be. So long story short, I used to go to these shows that were about 20 minutes away, and I'm like, damn, like I want to go ahead and sign up for this. I go to sign up, and the school actually closes down the day I go to sign up. They say that they're no longer accepting students, and I was like, oh well, that's a bummer, but things happen for a reason. And to be honest with you, it took me a lot of courage to just walk in that building and say, hey, I want to be a wrestler. What do I have to do? I don't think a lot of people understand that really unless they literally do it. Unless it's that moment where you go up to the promoter or go up to the coach and say, hey, like, what can I do to be in? Because you see it, and as a fan, you're like looking at it, you're like, wow, like this is awesome. I could do this. Yeah, I could step in there. But no, there's a moment where reality hit, and reality hit for me there, and I was nervous. And the fact that it didn't happen there at that moment, I didn't get to sign up. I said, all right, well, maybe it's the reason why. And then literally, as I'm driving back down to my house, I'm listening to the Stone Cold podcast. Danny Cage is on talking about the Monster Factory. I didn't even know the Monster Factory was even as close as it was to me. It was about 40 minutes away. And I heard that he was looking for people to kind of come in open house. I went there November 27th, and I drove past the building 3 times because it's the Monster Factory. I heard all these things about it, and I watched all the videos, and I'm intimidated. And I go in there and I just do it, and here we are 5 years later.
no, that's awesome to hear. So now,
Mhm.
okay, that brings up two questions I do have to ask. So listen first, because that moment that unfortunately you decide, let's do this. I'm down. I want to do this. I found a school. Let's go. What kept you from just once that door shut, from not deciding, you know what, maybe this was fate. Maybe it's not for me. I'm done. What was that moment that kind of pushed you to be like, there has to be something else?
I just think at that point, I had such a drive for wanting more in life instead of just working a regular job. Because I see that, like, my parents, they work hard. My mom, of course, she's always consistently working. My dad's been working since he was younger, coming from Puerto Rico all the way over here, just trying to make ends meet to support us. And I know that there's always so much more. You can always be so much more than what they tell you. So I've always, since I was a little kid, I had dreams of me like training at schools and like going and traveling and being in big arenas. And I was like, I just had to see what it's like. And to be honest, when I signed up, I didn't have like, I don't know, my motivation at the time signing up wasn't like to be like, all right, I'm signing up because I'm going to go to WWE. Yes, of course, that is my dream. That's everyone's dream. I get that. But my goal at that moment, though, in that particular moment in my life, was like, can I do this? And that little just thought is what kept me going. Is what, like, all right, I need to go.
Gotcha. That's perfect. So that leads to the next question I was going to ask. So once you're in there, though, you find the Monster Factory. It's going. What was that moment for you, though, that now it clicks that it's like this was the right choice, and this is what leads to us having this convo 5 years later. What was that for you? That it's like this was it. Like we're in this.
I just think the opportunities that I was able to just be lucky to get. Um, and some of these opportunities are so cool. Like within my first 6 months, like I'm working as an extra for New Japan, and I'm helping out with them set up the ring and stuff like that. And that's something that was just a dream of mine. I used to just watch. Like I used to watch the New Japan pay-per-views and stuff like that. And then getting to be hands on at the time with Ring of Honor and Honor of Dojo, I believe that's what it was called. Sorry if I'm butchering it, but the Ring of Honor Dojo at the time, like, and seeing these guys that are now either on AEW or just currently right now on the Ring of Honor system, getting to work with all those guys, getting to connect with those guys really early. 5 years later, I've made so many connections. I've made so many friends, and literally, I walked into this business, absolutely nothing, with like no expectation. I just wanted to know if I could do it. And when I talked to everybody and all these peers around me, and they're pushing me and they're encouraging me, they're telling me, "Hey, man, you can do this." That's where I'm like, "Okay, I'm here for it." But if they're saying I can do it, then I can do it.
Gotcha. No, that's perfect. So
Mhm.
now let's talk about that because now we're definitely seeing 5 years later with all this experience, with all these different opportunities you've had, we've seen that evolution there from not just the kid that at one point was coming out with some balloons and making us a different presence. We're seeing
Mhm.
a more flashier and more a little bit of an edgier side here, marvelous. So what was that like for you? That evolution? What was it that caused this again a different side of presentation here for you?
So actually, the balloons things is something that we do kind of fun at the Monster Factory, where we'll have these shows that are outside from our gimmick. They tell us, "Hey, come up with something new, come up with something different." And that time, I didn't really have a gimmick, so I was trying things. I was seeing things out, tapping into my dark side a little bit. And honestly, it was just me experimenting at the time, seeing what clicks, seeing what doesn't. Um, of course, times change and you always gotta switch it up. Eventually, in early, I found I guess you could say, my babyface ways, where I would just come out wearing all white, come out to the crowd, making sure, hey, like kissing babies and all that stuff. And
Gotcha.
that worked. That worked there for a little bit. That worked. I think now what I'm doing is what you're seeing, what you're going to see, especially at VPW very soon, is you're going to see the real me. And it's more of who I am now. And before, I used to try to be a gimmick, but like now it's no longer a gimmick. This is really me. This is really who I am. I am Marvel. This is a reason why I say the things I do and I do the things I do. It's because I believe in myself, and it took me a long time to get there. And here we are.
Gotcha. No, definitely I can respect that. And
Hmm.
here we go. We got our good buddies Wes and Kyle in the chat. Thank you guys for the support here. And here we go. We got Smiley in the chat here. Evening, fellas.
Highly
What's
good.
going on, brother? How's everything, man? But let's get into this then. You mentioned VW. Let's talk about that because I can imagine you're not too happy with this past weekend's results because
Not at all.
unfortunately it was another shot at those VPW Tag Team Championships, and unfortunately you and JJ Doe's came out a little short when it comes to
Yes.
capturing those championships. So talk to us about that. And the tweet afterward, they was kind of just giving us some idea here of what's happened next.
Well, tell listeners, but what tweet are you talking about in particular?
Because there's let me pull it up here. I should have actually had the image, but just 1 second. We should have had the screenshot here, but it's all good. It's all good. This
It's
we do
all
it on the fly. So I'm starting to see shadows are forming here. So what is
Mm.
this like? Again, a little cryptic after unfortunately losing that matchup, and then you're telling us here realer side. So what are you alluding to here? Is this are you starting to feel a little bit of a disdain, if you will, toward VPW?
I mean, let me ask you this: if you try your hardest at something more than once, more than twice, more than three times, right? And you try and you give it your all, and yeah, ultimately at the end, you just come out just defeated, you know. And I also kind of also feel a little bit unappreciated too. You kind of feel like damn, you know, hey, I'm a part of this too. I tried my best also, but it's really ultimately at the end, you come out nothing. You come out a loser. And I got sick and tired, especially this past weekend, of just coming out a loser. I've been going to VPW now since the beginning of this year, and I have not won at all. Partially, honestly, I blame it all on my partners, honestly, at this point. Because I've always had to deal with partners. It's never just me on my own. I could accomplish a lot of things on my own. And yes, shadows are definitely forming at VPW. You know, the whole glitz and the glamour coming out and being excited. Yeah, that's done. I would love to just know that, everyone in VPW has no idea what's coming, what's to expect, because I'm not alone either. On top of that, shadows are definitely forming, and you will see soon.
Well, then again, I like to see that. I guess I'll give the fair warning. Just stay away from Kane Industries. That's all I'll say. We want
Yeah,
to keep it cordial here. We've been cool in the locker room,
we have
um,
been cool in the locker room.
so
Actually, everybody in Kane Industries actually respect for us. So
so
lots of love to them guys.
so there you go. But again, that's you're gonna want to stay tuned, guys, because it will be Saturday night, October 14th. Maybe we'll get to see a little more there because hollowed ground. I guess the spooky season. You never know what to expect. What could possibly
And I
happen
will
there.
say this though, JJ really did let me down. So I'm not done with JJ either.
He's been failing a lot lately. He failed us at that Connecticut show. So again, the feelings mutual
I
there.
tell you what
Feelings
though,
mutual.
I tell you what though, he is an up and comer man, and he has been working hard, and I see. But unfortunately, he got in my way, and he got in my business, and because of him, we lost. He got pinned. I didn't.
There you go. There you go. But again, that's going to be this coming October. But let's keep going here. Let's talk about another opportunity you had. Let's talk about this and what it felt to be a part of this Rumble here, the Red Rose Rumble. Three Legacies put on an insane show. Again, congrats to them with that huge just stadium
Definitely.
show there. So let's talk about that for you. How was that opportunity?
That was quite the experience because I never like wrestled at a baseball show, or let alone a baseball stadium. So just going in there, seeing all the seats, and then later on seeing all those seats being filled. Um, I mean, just an amazing experience. There was also legends there, like you have Rhino, D'Lo Brown, Heath Slater, a couple other guys there that I got to connect with and just pick their brain. That's something that doing shows like that. That's a great way to connect. So just an amazing experience, and luck for Three Legacy Wrestling, man. They're doing a great job out there. Jesus Rodriguez, he is amazing. He's been nothing but literally kind and nice every time I have met him. I'll be out there soon, December 16th. I'll be back out there for him in Lancaster, so I can't wait to go back.
Nice. There you go. Can't wait to see that. But let's talk about that, especially when you talk about opportunities and getting to be around mindsets like that. You've gotten a few opportunities like that. You gotten to share the locker room, not only with Impact and just getting multiple opportunities like that. How has that been for you? What for you when you get to share locker rooms like that and you have those mindsets like that around you? What is that like for you?
Um, at that moment, I always really believe that I'm always at the right place at the right time. And it's like where we go back earlier, where we were saying in the intro, like building your craft. What's your craft? What does your craft mean to you? Those guys, I'm in a locker room. They have their craft built decades upon decades, and all they could do is just either add or tweak to my tool set. So for me, I love it. I love doing it. I want more of it. Like that's always the goal, is to be on those bigger shows, to be in those bigger locker rooms, those bigger promotions. It's something that like I always cherish, and I like again, I always respect. You go in there and you have to be respectful. Obviously, you have to be respectful everywhere, of course, but just something about it, just the professionalism is certain. locker rooms. I appreciate that. I don't take that for granted because I could go to a couple little locker rooms in the indies and everybody just kind of to themselves and nobody's really connecting, nobody's really building, nobody's really expanding and talk to each other. That's what this is. That's the biggest thing is to for us to talk to each other and to connect, man. Because without that, I mean, really, we go out there and we really have no connection. We're not going to connect with the fans, and we have to connect with the fans. But most importantly, we have to connect first. So,
Definitely agreed. And that's definitely a big step into all of this, especially to be able, again, to have that whole to make it work, to make everything work here.
right,
Well,
right.
let's keep it going here. Because again, it all comes also, I do want to talk about the biggest experience of it all and getting to learn from the mindset. You mentioned them earlier, getting to learn from the likes of Danny Cage and the Monster Factory. For you, how has that been? And to be able to learn under especially a place that has just so much history when it comes to the craft here.
I take it with a lot of pride. I tell everybody, I'm like, hey, I'm trained from the Monster Factory because of just not only just the reputation, but the work we put in. Of course, if anybody out there, any of the listeners have Apple TV, could download the 6-part series of Monster Factory. Could watch literally episodes of a couple of us, like the Notorious Mimi, David Goldsmith, Gabby Ortiz, Bobby Buffet, Twitch, Danny Cage himself, and overall just the Monster Factory. See how we train, see what we got to go through. So to me, I'm in it. Like I can't explain it. Like I'm in it like I never was like ever like starstruck about it or anything like that, but I met a lot of people that are always like either starstruck, intimidated, or curious. If I tell them, hey, I train from the Monster Factory, it's just a bunch of different mixed reviews. But ultimately they're all positive and our success rate is up there. So I mean I love it. I would trade it for the world. I've always been a Monster Factory guy and I'll always be a Monster Factory guy. So
Definitely so. Again, the place it speaks for itself, the
yeah, I
history that it has with the business, and then especially now the opportunity to get to see the show. If you guys haven't, look at Wes and Kyle saying it there. They love the show, and definitely it's a great show. If you guys haven't checked out already, go. It's on Apple TV. Go check it out. Great.
definitely.
Just it's something where you get to see just a little sneak peek into it as well. Can't review every little secret either.
Of course not, but make sure you guys download that right there, Apple
Yeah.
TV Plus, Monster Factory. But I do owe them, I owe them everything because I mean they, without them, there's no Marvelous, honestly. So
Gotcha. No, definitely got to respect that. So let's go into this though. We talked about some of the mindsets you worked around, but for you, I can imagine one of them is on that shirt right there. But for you, what was some
mm,
inspirations getting into the business and getting finding who is marvelous here?
well, besides Undertaker and for a shoot, actually my backyard is a cemetery. It's a graveyard. It's a whole graveyard. Always lived next to a graveyard, so I don't know. That's just always been a little spooky character myself. But no,
Oh,
my inspirations, definitely I grew up watching the Attitude Era, so if I could take Shawn Michaels, Undertaker, The Rock, and Austin all in one, if I could do that, those are kind of pretty much my inspirations. Followed up, of course, with just guys like Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio and guys like that with work ethic and stuff. Um, so I try to take a little bit of that and just kind of see who I am and put it within me. And I do see a little bit shades of The Undertaker when I'm out there. I do see shades of Shawn Michaels when I'm out there. I do see shades of guys like Ray Newer when I'm out there, but because like I grew up admiring them and I grew up admiring their work and I wanted to be just like them because they're the very best. So
gotcha. No, definitely can see that. And again, seeing the little nuances of it, not fully just again taking from everything, but just getting little this, little that, and seeing what it develops into the
yeah,
marvelous we see out there.
I also like I just like one thing about this talk about Undertaker, but like obviously I'm not 6'12", 6'12", 300 pounds. But The Undertaker has something that I think a lot of people that don't really possess, and that's just presence. That's just overall presence. You used to see him come in, he's just shrugging his shoulders. He got the fire in the background. Like it's stuff like that that I always like look at and try to like imitate, for the most part, because everybody wants to do moves and stuff like that, but it's the little things that make him a star.
No, I got you. And again, it's something like that where you're able to again carry that presence no matter the size,
Mhm.
and just be able to give a reason that again it leaves that mark on the fans there leaves that mark on even the locker room that it's like, okay, cool, this is who Marvelous is.
But it has to be
Right.
genuine, though.
Exactly.
It has to be genuine.
Definitely. So, hey, even from the theme on Saturday, it kind of popped us in the back. I'm like, wait, who is that? Then I look at them. I'm like, okay. It gets me there.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. So you said the theme, right?
yeah.
So I didn't think I was gonna be using that theme anymore. That was the last time I'll use that theme. But shout outs to the dubbed edition of Dragon Ball Z, the producers over there. I actually emailed them about the Cell theme song. I asked them if I could use it, if I had the rights, because obviously, like, it's Dragon Ball Z, right? I don't want to get sued for
Yeah.
copyrights or anything like that. No, their production team were like, nah, go ahead, man. You guys could take it. It's a mix. Go for it. They gave me the rights to it. That's literally been my theme song since I started wrestling. Um, but VPW soon, you're gonna hear a whole different tune.
Well, so I guess it was a good farewell there, which again it works because it's just maybe like shedding the skin, if you will,
Yeah,
for
hey, there
what's
you
to
go.
come.
You know,
So there you go.
always evolving, man. Always growing, man. No matter what, man.
Definitely, it's part of this here. So let's talk about this though, because I do want to talk about another tweet, just a video I saw a little bit there about how when it comes to the Monster Factory, when it comes to this special cup here, the pretty boy himself, Larry Sharp, the Memorial
Sure.
Cup here, and you almost feel like it should almost be owed to you in a sense, just what you've been doing with just talk to us about that, what you've been doing lately at the Monster Factory, and again showing a different side and just a little more dominant there, and especially your lines there. Can you tell us a little bit about the big guy you're with and what he brings to the table?
The big guy I'm with is the god of dad bod. And me and him lately have just been dishing out just pure, just violence throughout the Monster Factory, causing hell because we feel like not only the Larry Cup is owed to us, but a lot more is owed to us. We've been kind of pushed aside for years now, and we've just kind of both agreed that, hey, man, if we want an opportunity, we just got to go out there and both take it. So you actually maybe might be seeing him soon too. Who knows? But honestly, the Larry Cup Memorial, it means a lot to people because everyone who has won that cup recently has gone on to success, has gone on and won the Monster Factory Heavyweight Championship. And I've never been part of this tournament. I've been there for 5 years. So the brackets are still coming out. So who knows? Hopefully, I'm a part of bracket, or if not, hopefully the God of that bot is a part of bracket. Either way, one of us is going to come out the winner that night. So
Well, then again, I can imagine Monster Factory's listening and they're seeing just what you guys have been doing. It's definitely very impressive, and it makes me think. Again, it's hard to disagree with feeling like it's almost earned or more than earned at this point, deserved at this point. But I have to ask you this, because again, it's that underappreciated feeling here. Where's this coming from? Because now it's starting to become a trend, not only with Monster Factory, not only with VPW. Is this something where you just feel like almost wrestling owes you something now? Is that it?
I wouldn't necessarily say it's wrestling.
Okay.
I just think that's just my ego wanting everything.
Okay.
So wrestling is not so much it's more of everything that has gone on that I have been through, that now I look at things and I'm like, you know what? If I want something, I could just take it. And I'm just applying that to wrestling now. I realize that all I have to do is just take it. Yeah, everybody could talk, but you know what? Talking could get you in trouble. And talking could, like, if you talk too much, you do not get those opportunities. But you go out there, you show people, you show them with your actions. And that's all I'm doing. I'm just
Gotcha.
taking this. That's all. I'm taking this. Anybody else want it? Anybody else want the Monster Factory Tag Team Championships? Does anybody else want the VPW Tag Team Championships? Does anybody want anything? So I go out there and I'm going to take everything. Because before I used to just wait. I'm no longer waiting.
Gotcha. No, definitely. Again, I respect that, and definitely, I like the approach. It's something. Again, like I said, especially at VPW, at least, just when those tag titles come around, Kane Industries, maybe we'll have to have a talk then. But
I'm
Definitely.
always down.
I
Me and the God of that bot are always down to do business.
that's great to hear. That's great to hear. I can imagine the boss man, Adam Kane, would not mind that. But now let's talk about this. Let's
Man,
talk about
we
this
talk.
coming Saturday. Let's talk about this opportunity here,
Yeah.
as you're going to be facing none other than Miles Millennium here this Saturday for Atlantic All Star Wrestling. Talk to about this and your head going to this one on Saturday.
I'm excited about this. I've met Miles a couple times, and I've always wanted to get in the ring with him because I've seen him. He is incredible in the ring. And this is a test. I haven't been in Atlantic All Star Wrestling in a couple months. I'm coming back, so finally get to show see if I go toe to toe against Miles. Man, I can't wait. And also too, if anybody's out in the Woodbury area, go ahead and come check us out. 7 p.m. this Saturday. Atlantic
Gotcha.
All Star Wrestling.
There you go. Again, all the information will be right there for you guys. Links to all that, also, and links to all of Marvelous's socials down below as well. But also, I almost forgot to mention as well, for anyone that is in the area as
There you
well,
go.
go check out the Monster Factory as well. Go support them. You got some wrestling over there, Total Wrestling Live, as they do every Friday there. Go check them out.
Hey, every Friday for free.
Look at that. You can't beat
For
that.
free. For free, you get to see me kick people in the face and stomp them out. For free, you get to see the God of Dalbot crash people. For free, you get to see all the exciting stars at the Monster Factory. So come out every Friday, 8 p.m.
Look at that. Can't beat that. Again, a show right there. Again, some great wrestling. And a Friday night too. So can't beat that, for free as well. So go check them out. So, and again, especially, and for those in the business as well, I believe it is 2 weeks away. If you guys are in the area, go check out the Monster Factory September 25th, as they're hosting a Rocky Romero seminar. So go
Yeah, we
check them
are.
out, be there, learn from one of the best. And again, a man that has so much for this business,
Yeah.
and one of the producers and agents at New Japan. So you never know what could happen training under that man right there.
Never know who's going to show up at the Monster Factory either. So,
So that's the best thing
wow.
right there. So let's talk about this. We talked about confirmed matches. We talked about past matches. Let's talk about this now. On the list of Marvelous here, who's on that hit list of yours? If you can give us a name or two, you don't have to go down the whole list here. But who's
No
on that list of
particular.
yours?
All right. I'm gonna give you two in no particular order. Number one, Darby Allen. Darby Allen. Something about Darby Allen. I just feel like our styles would just mesh well. We could definitely make some magic in there. And number two, Leo Rush. Um, I need to see what it feels like to be in there with him. He is really good. Um, I need to get in there with Leo Rush. Those are two guys that I'm itching. And one day I hope I'm like, you know what, man, call me. I'll get in there with those guys and make magic, man. That's all I want. Make magic with them. And number
Uh,
three, actually, let me give you
ooh,
one more.
okay.
Number three will actually be world famous cheeseburger. The
Ooh,
world cheeseburger.
okay.
He is just an excellent trainer, an excellent coach, has so much knowledge of the business, has traveled the world. That's one guy also too that I want to mix it up with.
Gotcha. No, definitely three different styles in there, especially to see what you and Darby can mix it up in there would be interesting. You and Leo to see that fast paced action, that would be, especially seeing
Yeah.
the trajectory of what Leo's done in the business, seeing that would be interesting. Then you and
Let's see if I can
Cheeseburger,
catch him.
that would be, yeah, that would be the test there. Can you catch him in there? But then
Yeah.
you and Cheeseburger, it definitely makes sense though. We talk about your background in the ROH dojo as well, again to see what that can be. Hmm.
It's very interesting because like all three, with Darby, I feel like I could tell a very deep story. With Leo, it's the work rate, and then with Cheeseburger, it's the technical, it's the science behind it. I'll just love to learn from all three of those guys.
Gotcha. No, definitely, and I love that it came all three options with a different reason for it. It's not just
Yeah.
the hey, yeah, they're on the top of their game. Why not want to face them? But no, there's even more deeper meaning into it. So you love to hear that
Word.
that it all has that deeper background into it. That's great.
Yeah, man. I mean, let's get it, guys. Hope they're listening.
Oh, then hey, for any promoters out there as well, if you guys are listening, it's always what we like to do here. Throw it out there. You never know what could happen. I'm
Never know.
surprised because I know he's in the chat. I can imagine Smiley's going to throw his name into the basket there about wanting to face you because I've seen he's doing his things as well at the Monster Factory. So I can imagine he will be not be shy to want to square up in there.
I've gotten to square up with Smiley recently, and I have lost. No, but in all seriousness, though, he is a pro's pro. I mean, he's amazing in the ring. Literally, like I was telling him for a while there, like I was just kind of cruising on in my matches, but then when I found out like I was wrestling him, I'm like, oh, let me wake up, you know. And I definitely had to step up to his level, and he definitely brought me to another level in there. So big ups to Smiley, by the way, man. Big ups. So
Oh, definitely so. Again, that's one of the guys that especially it's no secret. I've said it here. One of his friends in the business, and someone that helped me with my training early on in my days. So definitely always respect to Smiley.
also
But
too, the current middleweight medallion holder at the Monster Factory, and anyone that knows me knows that I take the middleweight division with pride. But right now, it's in good hands. So I'm not even worried about it.
there you go. Again, gold is not past you. Definitely have held that. You've gotten to hold that Funhouse Luchador Championship that Smiley
Of
also
course,
holds.
yeah.
So might be again.
The only two wrestlers ever to hold the middleweight medallion and the Funhouse Lucha title at the same time. So that goes to me as Smiley.
There you go. That's it. We
Shout
might need
out
to
to
see that
Funhouse
rubber.
Magic over there, Andrew Morgan, man.
Yeah.
Shout out to Funhouse, man. Those guys are great.
Definitely so. But again, that's when we got to see a little more again fun side of Marvelous here. This is where we get to see that different, just the ever changing there, that evolution that you love to see in there.
You know, you got to always mix it up. I still like to have fun as long as, you know, nobody's threatening me or anything like that. We're good to go.
Well, I got you. Again, it depends on the scenario. It depends what
Yeah,
happens, and then depends on just the atmosphere. Again, like we said, VPW
my
coming up
nigga.
in October might not be time for fun because it's hallowed ground. I don't think you can have fun when
I'm gonna be
the
honest.
spirits around.
I'm not showing up to have fun on the 14th, to be honest.
I wouldn't expect again when you're saying the all that is building up there. I wouldn't expect some fun to come out of Marvelous on the 14th.
No fun. But I hope the
So
kids come out and have a good time. So come out, kids. Come out to the show.
definitely, it's Halloween time, especially. I can imagine it's gonna be costumes, all that good stuff. So come on out, be there for VPW because it's gonna be a good time.
Definitely for sure.
So let's get into this though. I do want to talk about when it comes to for you your style now because we talked about what it means what presence you bring into the ring, the little things like that, the
Mhm.
little nuances. But for you, when it comes into that in ring work, who was that for you that you tried to base off, and who was it for you that made you decide style I want to do when I'm in the squared circle?
It's weird because at least when it comes to just like quote unquote selling, right? I try to do everything kind of Shawn Michaels like. I look at him the way he gets tossed around. I believe he studied Mr. Perfect and those guys like that. And obviously there's guys now like Dolph Ziggler and stuff that sound like him. So I try for the most part to take that style, to take that approach. But other than that, I've learned, especially through my 5 years now, just I kind of have my own style. I kind of like crawl and slither in the ring in just ways where I don't know, I can't explain it, but I just feel it and I just do it. So I pretty much kind of mold at this point my own little style.
Gotcha. No, definitely. And again, that's why I asked because it's one of those where
Mhm.
I feel like throughout everything, it begins one way, but then as time persists, you start to adapt and you start to feel what feels comfortable for you and what
Right.
makes you, again, it makes you stand out as well. And this is what we've gotten to see throughout the time and throughout those
Literally,
5 years.
literally when that bell rings, and even actually even before the bell rings, I come out like, which is everything I'm doing. It's how I'm feeling at that moment. It's pure me. If you see me that I'm focused, I'm laser focused. If you see I'm having a good time, I'm having a good time. So you definitely see that out there with me, and I bring a little bit of everything out there. So
Gotcha. No, definitely. So I do have to ask this though. This is interesting that you say it's been 5 years, but that also means, unfortunately, in between that, your career kind of got started around. It's no secret, the elephant in the room of what we were going through, the pandemic era. So I
yeah,
have to ask for you, how was that still pushing on and getting through that when again the world was almost at a stop?
right. And you know what? That part So at the beginning, literally just came off of an injury that I had for at least 3 months. I kind of sprained my collarbone, my clavicle actually. I sprained my clavicle, and I was just coming back, and it was like that February, that March. I was just returning, so I just started dipping my toes and getting back into wrestling, and then of course, COVID happened. Um, of course, everything, the world was shut down and stuff like that. Luckily, there were still some moments where there were some privately closed taped sessions and matches that we had closed off. Of course, every time before we went in the building, we got tested for COVID. Only a couple people allowed in the building. We went there, we had a match, and then we'll leave. And we only did that for like maybe 1 or 2 months into the COVID era. And I just remember that just becoming creative as far as who am I? Like, okay, yeah, I can say I'm marvelous, okay, but let's show the world who I am besides wrestling. So I just started doing videos of literally me dressed up in gear, cleaning, doing regular things in life, trying to play basketball, trying to find fun things to do during the era that had nothing to do with wrestling. And I noticed that like I didn't have to be so serious every time. I could just be goofy and I could have a good time. It doesn't take away from what I do or who I am in the ring. It's just another layer. And I learned that through COVID. So that was that time. That was that turning point in my career.
Gotcha. No, that's awesome to hear because I feel like that definitely keeps you. It keeps the mindset going. That's one of those where you have no time to almost be like, well, I guess it's time to find something else. It's like
Right.
the ideas kept going, the creative juices kept flowing, and again, we're years later and we're still going in this strong.
Yeah, I can't.
So
There's just one thing that you always see like in memes or social media and stuff like that, or you just hear is like I didn't come this far to only come this far, and that's
gotcha.
really great. That always sticks with me.
No, it's awesome to hear. And again, it's one of those where a saying like that definitely shows the future is bright here and to see where it could possibly go because you're still very young in your career as well. So it's one of those where to see only 5 years where you've been and the experiences you had to see what could happen next is going to be interesting.
Right.
So, but I'm looking forward to see what happens next with you. So
Hey
definitely
man,
going to be a good
I,
ride.
I definitely appreciate that, man, and for you too as well too. You got all this set up. Who knows in the next couple of years will you be? So.
This is
That's all
where
we gotta do. We gotta just keep pushing, man. We just gotta keep going.
definitely so. Again, like I'll steal a line from my wrestling deals, like I call them the
Mm.
SAT. I guess expect the unexpected. You never know what happens next.
I never know,
So,
man.
but before letting you go, brother, because again, I don't want to take up too much more of your time here. One final question I ask everyone that comes on, and that is you. For Marvelous, what is the end goal?
What is the end goal? Hmm. The only reason why I'm taking so long right now is because I'm in a weird point in my life. And honestly, I think ultimately the end goal is no matter what I do in this life, it's just to ultimately be happy. And I think that's ultimately everyone's end goal. Let's just be happy. Let's just be positive. Let's be healthy. That's ultimately the end.
I like it. That works.
Sure,
Simple,
man.
short, and getting to the point. It is. It truly is. It's one of those where, hey, no matter what, as long as you're happy doing it, it's the best thing.
Bro,
So
that's all you
that
could. That's
works.
all you could ever do is just do whatever you can at the highest joy of your excitement, man. Just do it because this life is way too short. And I've seen, life is short, man. So if you have a dream, chase it. Don't, hey, I was scared also to sign up for to wrestling. Like I said, I drove by, took me a lot of strength, but you know what? I went ahead and I did it. Whatever it is, whether if it's wrestling or anything else, man, you got a goal, you got a dream. Go out there and go do it, man. You can do it.
There you go. I hope for anyone listening, definitely take that advice right there. Take those gems. And again, push through it, get through it, because you never know what could happen. Again, 5 years ago, who knows what could have been if it was a different decision. But now we got Marvelous here and we're having this convo. So, brother, thank you again for joining us here. To everyone watching, please don't forget to go follow this man if you're not already on all of his social media. Follow him there on Instagram. Follow him on Twitter /X/ whatever you want to call it. Go
Right.
follow him there as well. And again, go make sure you're there supporting the Monster Factory every Friday. Again, it's free wrestling right there.
Free
Be
wrestling.
there for the Larry Sharp Memorial Cup. Be there, very prestigious thing there. You get to, again, see some amazing action at the Monster Factory. This Saturday, be there, Atlantic All-Star Wrestling. You're going to see Marvelous versus Miles Millennium. And then this coming October. Again, it's going to be Marvelous in the building at BPW. Also, see Kane Industries in action and so much more. Brother, thank you again. This has been a pleasure. And everyone watching, as always, don't forget to be wise, be genuine, be real, be better people, respect the craft. I'm going to see you guys on the next one.